This is my presentation on the similarities and differences between the Gen Ed and Special Ed classrooms. During my review, I found some interesting similarities and differences between general ed students and special ed students when it comes to literacy. They both follow the same curriculum, so all the students are learning the same skills and concepts. They both need to be proficient before moving on, so they need to know those, understand those skills, and be able to proficiently perform those skills before they advance on to the next skill set. They both are in general ed classroom for reading. They have access to the same materials. They both use text to challenge readers. This is something we've talked about a lot in this class, but you want to be able to push your readers, and that's the same whether you're in a general ed classroom or a special ed classroom. Best way to get better is to challenge yourself and to improve your reading that way. No matter where you are, you're graded using the same rubrics, expectations, and requirements. This goes for speeches, projects, presentations, whatever. They might have an accommodation or modification to it, like extended time for special ed students, but they are graded using the exact same rubric. They both use literature and informational texts as well in their reading. They're both key skills that teachers value and are important to their learning, so they use those in both classroom settings. The difference is the students who are pulled out and put in the special ed classroom, they go at a slower pace to ensure that the concepts are met and understood before moving on. The material is retaught in the special ed classroom, so they are in the general ed classroom, least restrictive environment for most of their instruction, and then they go reteach the information in the special ed classroom to ensure understanding. Some points and some different, depends on the type of class, they use text below their students' reading level to ensure that they comprehend it as well. Students are challenged, like I said earlier. Special ed, a lot of times they use challenging reading to help build fluency, so by the time they're reading what their actual grade level is, that'll improve their fluency rate because they have read challenging text before. Students in special ed have accommodations and modifications such as being pulled out to take tests, having tests read aloud, extended time on projects and tests, so on and so forth. Students in special ed also receive a little more one-on-one instruction. There's a lot of students in a general ed classroom, so it's hard to get the one-on-one instruction to meet every one of your students individually to meet their needs. But in special ed classrooms, there's a lot of one-on-one interaction between the teacher and the peer and their students. There's also more time spent on foundational skills such as comprehension, fluency. Those are big ones that special ed teachers spend a lot of time on with their students. Special ed teachers also proofread and edit a lot of material with their special ed teachers, which is something that some teachers do in the general ed classrooms, but a lot of it is peer proofreading. Some ways to ensure that there are more similarities between Gen Ed and special ed classroom settings are to make sure that the student is placed in the least restrictive environment possible, or just eliminate having students pulled out of the Gen Ed classrooms. You can have the special ed teacher in there to help co-teach lessons with the Gen Ed teacher. This also will provide more one-on-one interactions with students to help meet their needs, which is a win-win in every sense. You make sure you hold the students to high standards and expectations. Don't lower your standards just because a student is labeled special needs or special ed. Make sure that you keep them and hold them to the same high standard with the rest of their peers. It just might take them a little bit longer to meet those standards, but make sure that you keep those expectations high. It'd also be beneficial for for general ed teachers to make more modifications and accommodations instead of always having the special ed teacher do that. So those are ways to ensure there are more similarities and differences between the two classroom settings.